Hi, I'm Leann. I'm a sleep consultant at Sleepy Bubba. Establishing healthy sleep routines is very important for our babies and toddlers because it sets the foundation for their health and well-being. Just like we need our rest, children need it even more. So here is why. First, it is for their physical development. So children learn a lot. They grow very rapidly in the first few years of their life. So they need a lot of sleep. They need restorative sleep in order to consolidate all the things that they have learned. Sleep is when their brain can make sense of like all the things that they learn. Number two, for their physical health. Yeah, and sleep will increase the immunity and that will help to wipe off all the pesky germs, and the more they sleep, the healthier they will become, the less they will fall sick. Number three, it also helps to boost their learning and memory. So when baby is sleep deprived, they are not able to focus well, and that is why they are not able to have like good memory. Lastly, it also boosts their mood. Sleep helps to regulate their emotions, and baby with better sleep will have better mood and will be happier. No, there isn't. So sleep training works for all ages, and your sleep consultant should modify the plan to make sure that it fits your baby's age and your lifestyle. A safe and comfortable sleep environment is very important for babies because it promotes good sleep and it will help you and your baby to get better sleep. And so here are some of the key elements of a safe and comfortable sleep environment. Firstly, use a cot or a bassinet, because while room sharing is okay for you and your baby, but co-sleeping, sharing a same bed is not okay. As a mother, you are already very tired from like all the new things that you need to learn to take care of your baby. So you want to avoid any chance of you rolling over to your baby and then make your baby suffocate. Number two, also if you use a cot, try to remove like loose items like pillows, soft toys, and even cord bumpers from the cot because these actually pose suffocation risk. Number three, make sure that the room is cool. Overheating is one of the main reasons for sudden infant death syndrome. Yeah, it causes suffocation. So somewhere in between like 22 to 24 degrees is the ideal temperature for babies. If you choose to swaddle your baby, try to make sure that the swaddle is done correctly. Otherwise, like those zip swaddle or sleeveless, zip sack are all really good for babies. Yeah, it replaces the blanket, so it keeps your baby warm and comfortable while preventing your baby to like kick the blanket up and cover their nose. Lastly, if you can keep the room dark, that would be great because darkness promotes the production of melatonin, which is the sleep hormone that will make your baby sleep better. Parents often face some challenges when they are caring for their babies. Some of the common challenges include night wakings, sleep regression, and difficulty in developing a sleep routine for babies. Night wakings are common, especially in the first few months of baby's life. They can occur because of various reasons, including hunger, discomfort, and the need for parental comfort. And here is how we can address night waking. If your baby is waking up because of hunger, try to establish a consistent feed routine during the day. This can encourage baby to drink more during the day. Make sure that they get enough calories during the day. Then nighttime, they will be able to sleep for longer stretches. What we want to do is to shift the nighttime calories to daytime. Ensure that our baby are getting the calories that they need instead of starving our baby, depriving them from milk. If your baby is waking up because their diaper is dirty, you can change them, but avoid unnecessary diaper changes because that might stimulate them and make them harder to go back to sleep in the middle of the night. So keep the light dim and keep the stimulation to the minimum at night. If your baby is waking up because they need some parental comfort, instead of picking your baby up, try to keep the comforting to the minimum. You can try to gently pet your baby and do some shushing sound in order for your baby to go back to sleep. You can also establish a calming bedtime routine. Bedtime routine will signal to your baby that it is time to go to sleep. Activities such as reading a story and taking a warm bath are all really good calming activities for your baby. Sleep regressions are periods when a baby who usually sleeps well suddenly starts waking up more frequently and having a hard time falling asleep. And here is how you can deal with sleep regression. Understand that sleep regressions are usually temporary and often related to developmental milestones. So be patient and understanding during this period. It should not last for more than 1 to 2 weeks when the regression happens. During regression, you also need to maintain consistency, so stick to a consistent bedtime routine, a sleep schedule, and also sleep rules. The more consistent you are, the faster your baby will get back on track. Yes, there are. Sleep training is not just crying it out. Here are some gentle methods that I like. Number 1 is chair method, which is also called stay in the room method. So what you will be doing is, while your baby is trying to fall asleep, you will stay beside the cot on a chair. During this time, you can use your voice and some gentle petting to soothe your baby. Make your baby know that you are still there. You have not left her alone to cry until she falls asleep. So every few nights, you will need to be further and further away from the cot. Eventually, you will be outside the room and your baby will be able to fall asleep all by themselves independently. Pick up, put down method. After you finish your bedtime routine with baby, put your baby down into the cot. If your baby is crying, pick baby up again and calm baby down. Once baby stops crying but not asleep, you have to put the baby down into the cot again. And you will have to give your baby like 1 to 2 minutes to figure out like how to self-soothe before you pick them up again, soothe them and put them down. The goal is to gradually decrease the amount of comfort that your baby needs from you. Verbal method. This method involves leaving your baby in the cot and then go back and check in on them consistently until they fall asleep. So this teaches baby that you are still nearby and you will always go back to baby whenever they need you. Creating a consistent sleep routine is very important for your baby since day one, and here are some of the tips that I have. So first, you must start early. The earlier you start, the easier it is for the baby because it's always harder to kick an old habit. So when you start from day one, your baby will know that, okay, so this is how it works in this world. Follow a bedtime routine. So develop a calming bedtime routine that signal to your baby that it is time to sleep. So this will be a routine that you and your baby can both look forward to at the end of the day. Establish a regular bedtime and wake up time for your baby will help to regulate their internal sleep clock. So they will know that when it is time to sleep and when it is time to wake up. Encourage self-soothing. Allow your baby opportunities to practice self-soothing for naps and for bedtime. So try to put them down into the cot before they are fully asleep. This will give them a chance to practice self-soothing. Lastly, seek support. So don't hesitate to reach out to your friends, family, or even like professional sleep consultants in order to establish a good routine for your baby since day one. Remember that creating a consistent sleep routine for your baby takes time and patience. It may require some trial and error to figure out what works best for your baby. Be responsive to your baby's needs and cues. Prioritize safety and comfort as you are trying to establish a sleep routine for your baby since day one. As they grow and develop, their sleep patterns will change. Toddlers usually experience fewer night wakings than an infant. So infants, they have to wake up every few hours to drink milk because their stomach is still small. But for toddlers, they are usually able to sleep for 10 to 12 hours without waking up at night. Nap transitions. Toddlers typically go through the 2 naps to 1 nap transition around 16 to 18 months. Some of them may even outgrow the need for a daily nap when they are around 3 years old. Later bedtime. Toddlers often have a slightly later bedtime, so infants will need to go to bed around 7 to 8 p.m. because they can't stay awake for so long, but for toddlers, typically their bedtime will be around 8 to 9 p.m. depending on family routines. As toddlers become more independent, they will start to develop some bedtime stalling tactics. This is just part of their development as they assert their autonomy. For toddlers between 1 to 2 years old, they need about 11 to 14 hours of sleep per day. So 10 to 12 hours of these 14 hours will be for their night sleep, and 2 to 3 hours will be for the daytime sleep. For toddlers aged 2 to 3 years old, they need about 10 to 13 hours of sleep per day. That includes 10 to 12 hours at night and 1 to 2 hours during the day. As children approach preschool age, they still require about 10 to 12 hours of sleep per day. So to transit your baby from a crib to a toddler bed, first you have to wait until your baby is developmentally ready. So I do not recommend transitioning your baby from a crib to even like a floor bed when they are too young. They are usually only ready when they are close to 3 years old, because young infants do not understand the concept of invisible boundaries. So the crib will keep them safe. Let your child be part of the decision-making process. Allow them to pick the bedding or choose a new theme for their new bed. Make sure that the sleeping environment is safe by choosing a bed with bed rail and to remove all the dangerous items from the room. Maintain a consistent bedtime routine to provide stability and comfort during this transition. This includes a calming bedtime routine that signals it is time to sleep. Expect some resistance and setbacks during this transition. Your child may push boundaries, get out of bed, or have difficulty falling asleep independently. So be patient and consistent in your response. To transit from 2 naps to 1 nap, make sure that your toddler is ready. Most toddlers are ready for the transition around 16 to 18 months old. What you will notice is your baby will start staying awake longer during their wake window. For example, if your baby takes 2 naps right now at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., the first nap might become later and later. And every few days, you can try to push back the nap by half an hour. So it will go from 10 a.m. to 10:30. Then the following week, it can be 11. And let your baby sleep as long as possible during this nap. What you will have to do also is to shift the meal time to make time for your baby to take a long nap around midday. During the transition, because of the earlier nap time, your baby might also need to go to bed slightly earlier than usual. Try not to keep switching back and forth between 2 naps and 1 nap. The best is really to be consistent and let your baby just stick to 1 nap and get used to it. By switching back and forth, your baby will be very confused and the transition will take longer time. Remember that every child is different and the timing for this transition can vary. Be patient and pay attention to your toddler's cues and sleep patterns to make sure that they are getting the sleep that they need. It's very common for toddlers to still experience this kind of challenges. Managing these challenges require a lot of patience, consistency, and an understanding of your child's needs. Children, just like us adults, we do not like to be caught by surprise. So having a consistent routine will help them to make the transition to bedtime smoother. Avoid screen time before bedtime, as it interferes with the production of melatonin, which is sleep hormone, and it can affect how we sleep. Be firm but gentle in setting bedtime boundaries. Reinforce the importance of sleep for their health and energy levels. Avoid overstimulation. Encourage calming activities in the hour leading up to bedtime. So these activities can include reading, coloring, and maybe a warm bath. Some toddlers develop a fear for darkness as they grow. So you can try to use a dim night light if your child is afraid of dark. Also allow your child to have a comfort item. It can be a soft toy or a bolster. So this will provide them comfort and they can fall asleep more easily. If you have been assisting your child to fall asleep, you will have to try to gradually reduce the assistance. For example, if you have been patting your child to sleep, instead of patting, try to just sit quietly next to your child and say a sleep phrase in order for your child to go to sleep. Sleep and exercise are also very closely related. To ensure that our toddler can fall asleep easily, we have to make sure that they get enough outdoor time and exercise time every day. I recommend having at least 60 minutes of outdoor time for your toddler every day. Children thrive on routine and predictability, as these provide them a sense of security, stability, and emotional well-being. It's important to note that routine can vary widely from one family to another. What works for one child might not work for another. The key is to create routines that are age appropriate, flexible enough to accommodate changes when needed, and responsive to child's individual needs.